Hey everybody, how are you all doing?
Hey you guys.
We're just sitting here on a gorgeous summer afternoon. Like literally we just had dinner, a healthy dinner. And we wanted to talk to you about something so juicy. So we loved how much you guys loved that video about, is it rude to walk away or to not make eye contact constantly with people saying hello, how are you, or good evening or good afternoon, like mindless acknowledgements? Is that separation consciousness? And we loved your comments. We loved seeing both ends of the spectrum, where many of you said, this is so us. We don't like to make eye contact. We like to stay in our own lane. And the other half of you said, I know, but we feel bad because then that means the world is becoming so cold and there's no connection, and the whole world is talking about this topic in their subconscious mind. That's why it's channeling through us. It literally feels like this is in everybody's mind. Like, how far do we go away and how far do we go towards? Like, what's okay, what's not okay? So in today's video, we are going to bust some myths on this topic of, is it separation consciousness or is it unity consciousness to just protect your energy field and not constantly have to engage with people and make eye contact?
So when we tune into the wisdom of our heart, the first myth that we want to bust is that common misconception that people feel that not making eye contact is disconnection, and it's kind of like isolating yourself, and it's spiritual ego in a way to isolate yourself. So when we tune into our wisdom, what feels good to us and what feels in harmony with the universal laws is that it is not spiritual ego, it is not disconnection to want to preserve your energy when you are out and about in public. And the common misconception in spirituality is that people believe that spirituality means that we must behave a certain way. In my opinion, that makes it a religion. Religion is what tells us that you must behave this way or you're a bad person. So let's not make spirituality another religion. It's not a one-size-fits-all answer. So I believe there's a few codes here that we need to share with you. And based on that, you can tune into your own inner guidance. These are just codes. They can apply to everyone. And the code is, when you are feeling that you need to respect your own energy and go inwards, even if you're in a crowded place, even if you're just walking down the street, down your neighborhood, even if you're in an elevator and you may see your neighbor join the elevator and you just feel like not acknowledging them that day and just being in your own space, you can put your hand on your heart and just nod. You don't need to engage.
And this is what it means to be authentic enough to just be who you are. And this is what really the ego is all about. The ego are all these masks we are wearing on ourselves that makes humans unrecognizable. So when you look around and you see humans, or you look around and you see even light workers, what we're seeing is that we're all just a bunch of masks, and removing these masks is the next step. Right now, the whole consciousness is going up, and all of these codes are actually coming back to humanity because these are the very codes humanity needs. Another perspective I'd like to share with you is when Siman and I were recently in San Francisco, we were guided to stay downtown to observe humanity from a completely different lens, because we live on the beach in Tulum, Mexico. We don't really get to see humanity's development from a direct view. We see it from a psychic view. So when we were in San Francisco, we were literally being shown people, like all kinds of vibrations. There was homeless people, there was people lying on the street drunk, there was a lot of people angry and screaming and shouting. One guy literally put his hand out and he tried to grab me, and I missed him by a millimeter. So I started having these conversations with God, and I said, okay, God, if I were you and you were me, like we all have these notions, right? If God was us or whatever, God would do this.
If Jesus, Yeshua, who is the highest embodiment of God, even if he were present, he would also protect his energy boundaries. Otherwise, he would be a lousy master.
Let's explain that.
So it's not about that if you are trying to be God, if you are on the ascension path, if you are on the spirituality path, if you're raising your consciousness, then the question is, what is the right behavior when you're passing by people who are suffering, for example? And I believe that it depends on the situation. Your heart has to call you. In our case, we freely donate a lot of money on the street when we see someone is truly in need, but our heart calls us.
Yes.
Sometimes we look at a situation and we say, oh, the energy is bad, or just this person, no,
yes,
I don't feel like going near them. And that's completely within our lanes. We let our hearts guide us who we donate to, who we connect with, who we open up our energy field to, and who not to. And we've done a lot of good this way, but not blindly, not like
yes,
one size fits all, like distribute equal amounts to everyone.
And when you start making such rules about it is when it starts feeling claustrophobic like religion, and that's the conversation I was having with God. Now, this brings us to a completely different angle. When is it separation consciousness to be snooty and not want to talk to anyone? When you are rooted in judgment, when you are rooted in fear, meaning, oh my God, if I go near this person, I will get COVID, and so I'm going to separate everything, and no. Or when you have a judgment like, oh my God, this person is so low vibration, and oh, he's homeless, and he probably hasn't had a bath in so many days, and so I am like, a spiritual warrior, a star seed, and I can't go near this person. That is separation consciousness. So it's very important for us to now walk our spiritual path, you guys, without all these ego masks completely manipulating our behaviors, because until we harmonize all of our behaviors and bring them to 0 point, to the Christed frequency, God's arrival doesn't happen. And I don't mean to sound negative when I say that, but that's just the process I have been through. It's literally like God is very finicky. And until you've really mastered your act and you've like taken away all of your inconsistencies and your life is not always going up and down like a yo-yo, like mine used to 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago, my life was like this. And then every year on my spiritual path, that got lesser and lesser until now it's almost like this is kind of how we're floating in life every day. And what's happening is because of this stability, even though we're traveling the world, even though we're just living off 3 suitcases right now, we're being guided to go and do God's work, even though all of this, our central point is so peaceful that now, this is what God is actually saying to you guys now, that not looking at a person or looking at a person, not hugging a person or hugging a person, like all these polarities, that's not what's important. You know what's really important is whether you as a light worker are aware that your frequency, the true frequency that's emanating from your field, whether it's actual unity consciousness, whether it's actual unconditional love, whether it's actual compassion, whether it's actually you realizing you're a creator, and that just one prayer, one blessing to that person is enough, more enough than you having to spend 20 minutes there and talking to the person or any such thing. Literally, we feel like we're walking as galactics and we're not from Earth, we're not in Earth, we're operating from outside of Earth. And when God feels like our energy is needed somewhere, whoosh, we go in, we give our energy, and then we go out. We're not always looking around saying, where are people in distress that need our Christed energy, where we can make eye contact and give them love, and we're in a completely different frequency, and that is okay. That is not just okay, that is highly healthy, that is highly recommended for your own spiritual hygiene, so you can continue to go higher without waiting for the world to catch up. You are required to go higher, and then you have a bigger reach to people.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the best point that Eldora just raised is that the differentiating factor, and this is the key teaching we want you to take away from this video, the differentiating factor between separation consciousness and unity consciousness is whether you are in a frequency of judgment. So pay attention inwards when you're walking down the street and you see the homeless. Is there an inner voice that says something negative about that person or creates a judgment towards them? If not, then you're okay to stay in your lane. As long as you're not judging anyone or any situation, it's okay to preserve your field. But if you feel that you're retreating because you're constantly feeling like the world is too filthy for you, or some people are just triggering you, then you should really look into your triggers instead of avoiding situations all the time.
Yes.
So the key teaching is to pay attention to your judgments. If you're not in judgment, then you're most likely in unity consciousness, or even if you're just neutral, that's perfectly fine too. We don't have to be love and light all the time.
And thank you guys, all of you who commented, and you were all right. I love that we had both sides, and there's no right and wrong. This is just our perspective, and let us know after listening to us if your perspective has shifted a little and you realize that it's all about doing whatever the fuck you want, because you trust yourself and your heart to do the right thing. You don't have to follow any kind of book like, okay, I have to do this or I don't have to do that. And that is really the crux of the teachings that are coming through now. All ego teachings, because guys, this is the next level for light workers. We need more of you who are harmonized in your freaking ego. Literally, ego is the biggest barrier between you and God. Your ego is the biggest separation, the biggest veil, and the ego comes in like hundreds of thousands of layers. And as I have removed layer upon layer of my ego in the last 11 years, I have become more and more of God. That's literally what has happened.
And another quote that wants to come through is that the true spiritual path celebrates your individuality. It celebrates you at your most authentic, raw, heart-centered self. Whether you're feeling crabby, whether you're feeling elated and outgoing and happy and joyful, God is allowed to experience the whole spectrum of emotions without projecting them on others. God is not just here to be la-di-da happy all the time. That's not what being God is. God is having a human experience which ranges from feeling sad, depressed, all the way to feeling enlightened. And when you go through this journey, by and by, you feel more and more enlightened and happy, but you also have days when you feel down and you feel like being in your own frequency, and that's completely fine. So celebrate you and honor you.
That was so sweet. Love you guys so much. Sending our love.
Take care.